And here now to break down this second round series between the Predators and Blues, NHL.com writer Robby Stanley. Robby, on paper, this appears to be a very different looking series than Blackhawks Preds in round one. Blues a much heavier team. How does that impact what the Preds will send out on the ice?
Yeah, I think when you look at this Blues team, you mentioned they have some speed, but they're a lot heavier as well than the Blackhawks were. I think the Predators are going to have to play a more physical style than they did against the Blackhawks. And I think when you look at this Predators roster, they have options in order to do that, whether you want to send out Mika Salamaki, who missed pretty much the entire season but came back in at the end of the regular season. He's got some offensive flair, but he also has the ability to play physically as well. You've got Vern Fiddler, who probably doesn't have the speed to match up against the Blackhawks, but if you want to play him against the St. Louis Blues, you have an option to do so there. And you also have a guy like Cody McLeod, who has been known as a fighter in the regular season, chipped in a little bit offensively, but brings more of a physical role. So I think Coach Laviolette's going to have more options to put some of those more physical guys in the lineup than he did maybe against Chicago.
One guy who is pretty physical is Colin Wilson. He obviously missed the entire Chicago series with that lower body injury. On the ice today, he looked pretty good to my eyes. Do we think we see Colin Wilson in game one?
Yeah, I mean, that would be big for this Predators team if they can get him back. Like you said, he looked good at practice today. I think he moved well. He was participating in all the drills. And remember, he's a guy that's got 18 points in his last 20 playoff games. They don't call him playoff Colin Wilson for nothing. So he's made a name for himself in the postseason. If they can get him back and he can play to the same level that he has in the postseason the last 2 years, that's going to be huge for this team.
From playoffs Colin Wilson to a guy who's just been spectacular so far for the Predators in the playoffs in Pekka Rinne, a 970-plus save percentage in the first round against the Blackhawks. He and Jake Allen have been the two best goaltenders in hockey in the second half of the season. So does he have to be just as good in round two for the Predators to advance?
I don't know if he has to be as good as he was in round one. I think that would be a lot to ask, but he's going to have to be good. There's no doubt about it. It's no secret. When you get to this time of year, you get in playoff hockey, you go as far as your goaltender takes you. It's the same thing as a quarterback in football. So Pekka Rinne was outstanding in the first round. He did a great job, was really effective at playing the puck, not only making the saves, but playing pucks behind the net, kind of acted as a third defenseman for this Predators team. So I think if you get a 930, 940 save percentage out of Pekka Rinne in this round, you have to like your chances. I really like the way the Predators are moving the puck offensively. I think they're going to be able to get to the interior and attack Jake Allen in a much more effective way than Minnesota did in round one. So I think if Pekka Rinne gets that 930, 940 mark, the Preds should be fine.
Like Rinne, Allen was terrific in round one against Minnesota. This St. Louis Blues team has been terrific since the coaching change from Ken Hitchcock to Mike Yeo, one of the best teams statistically in the league in just about every category. How is this team different than the one the Preds beat 3 out of 5 times this year?
I think they just have a little bit more freedom. When you look at the way they play offensively, I think Coach Yeo just lets them play a little bit. They're creative offensively. They've got some talented players. When you look at Vladimir Tarasenko, Alexander Steen, you've got David Perron on the forward group as well. And a lot of people thought that maybe this was not going to be the Blues season when they traded away Kevin Shattenkirk, but they played well defensively after that. And of course, Jake Allen has a lot to do with that as well. So I think they have a little bit more offensive freedom. They have some speed, not quite as fast as the Predators are, I don't think, but they are a little bit heavier than the Predators are. So there's a lot of talent there. You've got an elite playmaker in Vladimir Tarasenko. That's going to have to be the guy that the Predators key in on.
Unlike a year ago, the Predators get short travel and they have rest going into round two. What's the key for them, though, to win this series against the Blues?
I think you have to capitalize early like they did against Chicago. They did a great job all series long of coming out of the start gate and did a really good job in the first period. And that's an area where they struggled in the regular season. You saw how good they were in the second period. The first period wasn't so good in the regular season. If they can come out in the first period like they did against Chicago and do that same thing against St. Louis, this Predators team is so good at playing with the lead. They're able to get to their style, play their style of game more when they're playing with the lead. If they can do that, I like their chances.
And of course, as a wild card, once again, they're going to have to steal at least one game on the road, so it'd be nice to get one in one of the first two in St. Louis. Quick prediction, Robby.
I like the Preds in 6. I mean, I really like the way they match up against this St. Louis team. I said it before, I didn't pick them to beat Chicago, but if they did, I think they have a chance to play for a long time, and I really like the way they match up with the Blues.
You sweep the Stanley Cup favorites in round one. A lot of people are believers. Robby Stanley, thank you.
Thank you very much.